Hi, everyone. This is Mrs. Dimitrov. I'm here with Mrs. File. Mrs. File is actually studying to become a principal, so she is my intern for this school year. So she's here to help me answer all the questions that you posted in our Google Doc regarding our Glendale Elementary reopening plan. So let's get started. So later this week, you're going to receive lots of information from Glendale. You'll have your placement information that will tell you who your child's teacher is. There'll be some information for specific to kindergartners. You'll receive a letter from Mr. Day outlining the acceptable face coverings for this school year. There'll be some information from Mrs. Zajac regarding food service and pickups. There'll be a map of our arrival procedures. There'll be a sheet. It's a kind of a summary, so at a glance, what in-person is going to look like. There's also going to be a letter from Mrs. Bonavie regarding our health procedures and that we are a peanut and nut tree free building this year. You'll also be receiving a letter from our new athletic director outlining some changes to the physical education program. And your busing information will be coming in a separate mailing as usual from our transportation department. Some general information. So September 11th, it's a Friday, is a remote only day. This is a day where students and teachers can come together and get to know each other a little bit more. And we're hoping to offer a parent virtual open house experience on that day. September 14th is through the 18th for students who are in school face-to-face will be a hybrid week. Students participating in the remote academy will attend each day starting on September 14th. But in the hybrid model for those who are coming to school, you will come if you are assigned the blue group. You'll be here Monday and Tuesday, the 14th and 15th. If you are assigned to the gold group, you will start on Thursday, the 17th, and Friday, the 18th. That Wednesday is a virtual day on that week. A question, will teachers have Zoom meetings with students? Yes, the teachers will be reaching out virtually utilizing Zoom this year. So what does our instructional model look like? The next two slides, we're hoping to answer all of your questions. What will school look like after September? Will it still be in person, hybrid, or remote? And will it change based on the infection rate in Western New York? If the district goes remote, will our students have the same teacher? So the governor stated that local governments, the county and school districts, will be able to determine if school needs to close. He also previously stated that an infection rate of 5% or greater in the region would trigger a state-mandated shutdown. So yes, if Sweet Home needs to move to a remote instruction, classroom teachers will remain the same. Is there going to be a hybrid option for families who are not comfortable sending a student back full-time? No, the two options that Sweet Home is offering is the face-to-face 5 days a week or 5 days in the remote academy. If cases in Erie County rise, would you convert to a hybrid first prior to moving to all online learning? No, because our on-site numbers are so low right now that we would move to full remote option and bypass the hybrid. Some more questions about the instructional model. If remote academy did not fit our child, can we change back to in-person? Can parents change kids' programs before the end of the semester from physical in-school to remote? So in general, we have much greater flexibility with the change from the on-site model to a remote learning model. Parents will be given an opportunity to express a desire to change from on-site to remote in early October, and from remote learning to on-site in December. Changes will be only granted if we are able to support the change with staff that we have in place, and if we can maintain social distancing requirements within our on-site school model.
Student arrival. Will we be sent information about specific parent pickup and drop-off procedures? Yes, that specific information will be included in that welcome back packet that you should be receiving at the end of this week or early next week. Our buses will have 2 drop-off locations in the main entrance and also on the side entrance of the building by door 11 off Millwood Drive. And there will be 2 parent drop-off locations starting at 8:40. They will be in the main office, main doors, and in the back by door 11. There's 2 points of entry. So if you are a student in grades 2 and 3, you will enter through the main door. And students in grades kindergarten 1, 4, and 5 will enter door 11 off Millwood Drive.
And just one addition to that, if you have a child, let's say you have 2 children attending our school, and one child is in kindergarten and one child is in 3rd grade, we would ask that you drop both of the kids off at the main entrance. So the entrance with the eldest child, you can send your younger student in with your eldest child at that designated. You don't have to go to 2 different entry points. And we'll make sure that your younger child socially distanced and gets to their classroom.
The official start of the day is at 8:50 a.m. Students entering the building will be greeted by staff members who will also be stationed outside. There will be a thermal camera and temperature check at each entrance, supported by 2 staff members. Students will hang belongings on hooks, enter the classroom immediately, and breakfast will be set up and provided in the classroom upon student arrival. Busing. When will we know about the bus schedule? So you should receive a postcard at the end of this week or early next week. If a parent has chosen to drop off / pick up their child, is there a way to begin transportation? If they opted for transportation, can they opt to drop off and pick up their child? Yes, so you can change to bus transportation. However, it may take up to 2 weeks. And changing to drop off pickup will take 1 to 2 days. Will there be temperature checks on the bus? Not at this time. What happens if a child who took the bus to school arrives with a fever? Students will be masked and separated on the bus. There will be thermal cameras that will detect elevated temperatures upon student arrival. Students will be isolated with the school for a temperature recheck. Room configurations. How will students be placed into classrooms? So the same procedures that have been put in place to determining class lists will be utilized. You usually refer to lists drafted from the spring. We take into careful consideration any academic, social, emotional, or behavioral needs. This year in our K through 2 classrooms, we will have no more than 13 students. Our reading tables will all have barriers on them, and each student will have an individual desk or table with 6 feet of separation. In grades 3 through 5, in those classrooms, there will be no more than 16 students. There will be the reading table with the barriers, and each student will have an individual desk with barriers, and they'll be separated by at least 3 to 4 feet. So in general, walls and bulletin boards are okay to decorate and post student work. We're limiting density by removing as much furniture as possible in order to be able to provide that social distancing space. And we're removing all personal belongings, all teacher personal belongings. The classroom library students will not be accessing this year. The teachers will be selecting books for the students. And there will be additional tables in any K through 2 classroom for related services and intervention push-ins. Our meal service. Are kids able to bring a lunch from home? Yes. They must be peanut and tree nut free. Will kids have snack time in the morning? That's up to teacher discretion. In general, the classrooms are going to be nut-free, and all meals will be eaten in the classroom this year at each student's individual desk. The lunches will be bagged and limited. There will be no options, and garbage cans will be on wheels to be brought to each classroom so that we could dispose of the trash immediately. We have, once again, qualified for the federal funded community meals program. And again, breakfast will be provided in each classroom upon student arrival. And all lunches will take place between 10:55 and 11:55 in the morning.
So in regards to our classroom procedures for face coverings, all students, staff, or other individuals in the building should wear masks at all times, except during planned mass breaks. These mass breaks will occur once every 30 to 60 minutes, and also obviously during the lunch hours and breakfast. Of course, we are, strictly adhering to our code of conduct, and corrective action for students not wearing masks or having difficulty maintaining mask and protocols will be in place. We will be very obviously positive and supportive. We realize developmentally some of our children have to get accustomed to wearing the masks. So we are working very, very hard at the onset of school to make sure that everyone is following the protocols. We are required to have a 10-week supply of face coverings for all staff and students can be provided with a face covering when needed. Our district has also purchased lanyards that the kids will wear that holds their face coverings. So those are actually pretty nice in terms of the kids not having to take off their masks and put them down on the tables. Are cloth masks acceptable? So again, as I stated in the very first slide, each family will receive a letter from Mr. Day in our general mailing, and it depicts all of the acceptable face coverings. Will students wear masks when they're outside, for example, on the playground? Really kind of depends on the playground. The nature of the activity will not guarantee 6 feet of social distancing. So masks actually will be worn when the kids are on the playground. We will, however, designate outside learning spaces, so fixed spaces outside where students can maintain a 6 foot plus can be utilized. And at that time, masks do not have to be worn if they are 6 feet separated. Is a face shield an acceptable alternative to a cloth mask? Face shields may be worn in addition to a cloth mask, but not in lieu of one. When would we consider reducing mask wearing protocols? Of course, that's completely dependent upon Governor Cuomo's executive orders. So more information regarding acceptable face coverings will be included in our welcoming back packet, which will be mailed later this week. So in our classroom, barriers and 6 foot barriers and the 6 foot distancing will be used to keep kids safe this year. We'll maximize space for students to move around the room by removing as much furniture as possible. When students come within 6 feet of each other, students must be wearing a mask. So a general rule of thumb that we're using with students and staff is anytime you're moving, you are wearing a mask. Bathroom use. So students, this is all outlined in the video that we taped, and that will be available on the website, hopefully by the beginning of next week. But when students need to use the bathroom, they first, before leaving the classroom, they will wash their hands for 20 seconds with soap and warm water. They will then take their own individual bathroom pass. They will take it because it's part of our protocols. It has Velcro attached to the back, and when they go before entering the bathroom, they will affix it to the wall. That will indicate to the person coming up behind them that the capacity of the bathroom. So we will allow 2 students per bathroom. That's our capacity, 50%. And so X's are on the floor outside the bathrooms to ensure students are waiting and socially distancing for their turn in the bathroom. Students wash his hands in the bathroom, and also they will wash their hands when they return to the classroom. So transitions in our school, we will be using vinyl tape and arrows so students know exactly the directionality and walking paths within the building. The next couple slides do with academics. And so a question. What will small group instruction look like? So there's going to be much less small group instruction than we're usually accustomed to. Barriers will be installed on all small group tables K through 5. How will standard-based grading look like for both kids in school and full remote? The amount of content is obviously reduced, and the grading practices will be similar. How will learning gaps be addressed? Most important content missed from March through June of last year will be integrated into current grade level units. Will students still have science and social studies as separate subjects or will it be incorporated as part of reading units? The combination of integrated and standalone will need to be minimally used due to lost instructional time. There are no science labs for grades 3 through 5 this year. We will not be able to cover the full curriculum due to the loss of instructional time.
Special area classes. So what will specials look like this year? All specials will be in person. Students will not share materials. A mask must be worn at all times unless outdoor space is used with appropriate social distancing guidelines. Will the students be changing for PE? Students will not be changing for PE this school year, although a change of clothes was listed on the special area supply list. A change of clothes is not necessary for the 2020-2021 school year. All students will continue to be exposed to all special area classes, music, PE twice, art, and library. Music this year will take place in the cafeteria to provide for additional distancing, and physical education will take place in the gymnasium or outdoor spaces and classroom spaces. Health and wellness instruction will occur within the classroom space. Dismissal. So end of day school bus dismissal will begin at 2:25. Approximately 10 minutes later, we'll start parent pickup and walker dismissal. If you are picking up your child, we ask that you not enter the lot until 2:35. And our points of departure remain the same as our points of arrival. Our students in grades K1, 4, and 5 will exit through door number 11, and students in grades 2 and 3 will get picked up through the main door.
So our parent pickup at dismissal. So you're going to be assigned a student family number card. Please don't share this card with anyone else. When you arrive at 2:35, and we're asking that you don't enter the campus until our buses have completely exited the campus, and that we're hoping that is going to be at 2:35. So you're going to wait in a line at the designated pickup zones, whether it's in the front of the school or on the side at door 11. You will display your number card. A staff member will check your license as you pull up, especially for the first couple weeks of school as we're getting to know everybody and our new families. We will look at your number, then we will call your child's number via walkie-talkie to staff inside, and your student will safely be released to you and enter into your car. When you exit the parking lot, you will just please use our typical traffic pattern that will be noted on the grounds. Question, can we share pickup responsibilities with our neighbors? Yes, and we would require a written note 24 hours in advance if there's a change in that pickup. What if a change needs to be made at the last minute because I can't get there in time, but my neighbor can help me out? So yes, if there's an emergency, we must get a parent phone call from you. And when the person is coming to pick up your child, we will ask for their license. They will remain in the car. And we'll make sure that that is the person that you have designated before releasing your child to that person. What happens if I'm running late for pickup? So we will keep students socially distanced in the main entrance. So if you are running late for whatever reason, we ask that you call the main office and let us know. And when you arrive, call the main office again, and we will make sure that your child safely is released to you. Health protocols. So this flowchart was designed by Mr. Day, our superintendent, and this is part of the mailing that you'll receive. So this really outlines exactly what will happen if a student or staff is symptomatic. Illness. What will happen if a student gets a fever in school? So right now we are collaborating. We're trying to bring the most up-to-date information and recommendations from our school physician, Dr. Kaplan, and the Erie County Department of Health. So you'll be receiving a letter from the superintendent prior to the first day of school outlining all of our health procedures. Please understand and rest assured that with the addition of an extra nurse at each of our schools, we will be very prepared to implement these recommendation protocols beginning on day 1. Question, if my child is showing cold symptoms, do we call the school and explain? Or do we send them to school? We ask that you keep your child home until they are symptom-free. Question, what if someone at home has a fever, but the student does not? We ask that you continue to monitor a student for symptoms, but they are able to attend school if they are symptom-free. Temperature taking. Will the school be taking students' temperatures? Yes, so thermal cameras, and this is all outlined in the video that will be posted at the beginning of next week. Thermal cameras will be used to identify students with elevated temperatures as they enter the building at both locations, at door number 11 and the main entrance of the school. So we will individually verify the temperature of any student that is flagged as having an elevated temperature. How will you check temperatures in the winter after being in a hot car and bundled in winter clothing? Okay, so students will be sent to the nurse's office and rechecked once they've taken off their coats and hats and gloves. Where there'll be temperature recordings for all students and staff entering, or is it expected to be completed at home? Staff will self-check prior to coming into the building, and we ask that all parents and guardians check their children's temperatures before sending them to school. But again, upon entering the school, their temperature will be monitored through the thermal cameras. If it's elevated, they will be isolated immediately. We will wait 10 minutes to individually recheck their temperature. If they still have an elevated temperature, then we would start to employ our health protocols that we have in place. Positive COVID-19 diagnosis. A question: will the classmates of students who tested for COVID-19 be quarantined at home for 2 weeks? So our best understanding is that it is possible, not automatic, and a decision would be made by the contact tracer from the Erie County Health Department. Where there'll be mandatory testing for students who are in the same class as a student who tested positive for COVID-19. Legally, individuals cannot be compelled to take a COVID-19 test. If a student, teacher, family, class has to be quarantined due to possible exposures to COVID-19, will instruction be provided virtually, or will the protocol, or what will the protocol be to ensure that there is no loss of learning? So students will receive instruction remotely in some form for any duration of quarantine. What is the notification policy if a child within the school tests positive for COVID-19? All parents will be notified that a positive test has been confirmed within school as soon as possible. After-school programming. Will there be options for after-school programming? No after-school clubs, events for approximately the first 10 weeks. We will evaluate whether or not these events and activities can be safely reintroduced after the 10 weeks. Will there be an after-school program on site? So yes, we do have the YMCA here again at Glendale after school. And we are able to drop students off at one additional location after school, so in daycare or other after-school youth programs.
Facilities. Is the school going to have a new ventilation system before school starts? So our air filtration was upgraded to MERV 13 that is set in place already. The system turns air over at a rate that exceeds the recommendation from the DOH. iPads. Will iPads be provided and distributed by September 11th? We're hoping to distribute iPads into the late next week. Will my student be using the same school-issued iPad as last year? If a student was issued an iPad last year, they'll be utilizing the same one this year. However, all incoming grade 3 students will be issued a new iPad. So if your child was issued an iPad as a second grader, you will be asked to return it to the building. The new device will be provided at that time. Kindergarten. Will kindergartners and parents be able to see the classroom and meet the teacher before school starts? So kindergarten, like all grades K through 5, will meet remotely on September 1st, and you will be able to see your classroom and meet your teacher September 11th, and you'll be able to see your classroom and meet your teacher that day. The week of the hybrid model, beginning September 14th, all of our students that are coded blue will arrive to school at 9 a.m. following an integrated schedule that you will receive in the mail with your welcome back packet. And our gold students, their first day will be September 17th. And on those days, there will be an outdoor picture opportunity with your family. Will I be allowed to go in with my kindergartner the first day, or will there be a run-through beforehand so she knows what to do? Unfortunately, we are not able to conduct our typical kindergarten orientation, and we will have plenty of staff on hand that first week to help support our kindergarteners. Can older siblings walk them down to the classroom? All students must enter the building at their designated entry point, but again, we'll have several support staff available to help get all of our kindergarteners where they need to be. Will there be recess for kids? Yes. Recess will be scheduled daily for all classrooms. How will recess work? There will be a combination of indoor and outdoor recess. Outdoor spaces will be marked for social distancing. The playground may be used by one class at a time on a rotational basis, and a schedule will be created for each classroom based on that. Do they have to wear a mask on the playground? Yes. Will more than one class be outside at a time? Possibly, but outdoor areas will be marked for classes to remain socially distanced from one another. And again, there'll be one classroom on the playground at a time. Can students play together, have circle time? Free play will be limited to outdoor recess. In all other contexts, we will maintain social distancing to the greatest extent possible. School supplies. Will there be an opportunity to drop off school supplies? This year, students will not have a school supply drop-off prior to the start of the school year. We are asking all students to bring their supplies to them on the first day of school. Can students keep their school supplies in their backpacks so that contamination will be reduced? No, but students will keep their supplies at their desks. Again, each student will have an individual desk with their own bin that they'll keep their own labeled school supplies in. If the school closes, will students get their supplies back? Yes. Our supply list is going to be altered at all before school starts. So lists have already been revised and posted to the website. In some situations, teachers may ask for some supplies to be replenished as the year goes on. And likewise, some teachers may request some additional items like a towel or a yoga mat to bring outside for some outdoor scheduled reading time. Can my child bring in a personal water bottle? Yes, we ask that you please have those water bottles labeled. Will backpacks and jackets stay with kids, or will they hang outside of the classroom? So we're going to continue to utilize the hooks outside of the classroom and the cubbies inside of the rooms. With the reduced number of students we have on site, there'll be more space between these items. A limited number of students will also be allowed in these areas one at a time or at one time. My child has allergies. How can I drop off the EpiPen or other medication? So you will be able to drop off medication for your child during the iPad supply pickup window that we are hoping to schedule next week. And if you have any additional questions with that, you can contact our school nurse in the main office. Will restrooms be cleaned in between students? Restrooms will be thoroughly cleaned at least 4 times per day. Will students be trained to cough, sneeze into their shoulder or elbow instead of their hands? Students will be trained in various health protocols, including, but not limited to, coughing and sneezing into their elbow and proper hand washing. If my child is attending school remotely, will I still receive correspondence from the school? This is something that we're looking into. We recognize the challenges that we face in doing so. However, our leadership teams are doing the best that we can to create opportunities to sync our virtual learners and our on-site learners so that we continue to remain one school community. Will there be routine mandatory COVID-19 testing for asymptomatic students? At this time, there is no mandatory testing.
Remote instruction. How will remote instruction work? Teachers will be providing a combination of synchronous and asynchronous work and instruction. It will be structured very similarly to a typical day of school. Will there be a supply list for remote instruction? Yes, and it will go home this week, and that is through Mr. Wolf's office. He is actually the designated principal for the remote academy. So he will be sending out information to all students in his academy by the end of this week. Will the school be sending any supplies home to help with remote learning? Yes, and again, more information will be shared about that next week. Do we use our home computers for remote learning or their school tablets? All students K through 12 will be provided with an iPad, including students attending on-site. Will lesson plans be mailed home or emailed? Lesson plans will not be sent home. However, daily instructions for learning will be provided in Seesaw or Schoology. So our students in K through 3 will be using the platform Seesaw, and our students in grades 4 and 5 will be utilizing Schoology. What is your plan for E&L support for students in the remote academy? Will it be online as well? Yes, we don't have any students that receive E&L services at Glendale, but I do know for the students in the other elementary schools that there will be some remote services provided. So that was actually the last question that was submitted. So Mrs. File and I hope that we are able to answer all the questions to your satisfaction. If not, or if other questions pop up, please feel free to give me a call at school or email me, and I will get back to you as quickly as we can. I would like to express, I completely respect parents' decisions. I know they're tough to have your kids enter into the remote academy. I do wish to express as well that very thrilled about seeing the kids back that are coming face to face, and testing out our protocols here that we have. We've spent a lot of time in planning and resources to making sure that when the kids return to the building, that they are very, very safe, and we provide the most positive experience that we can given the circumstances. Thank you so much for your attention to this video. Have a great day.